Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome into another edition of the Big Man on Campus YouTube show. I am here live with you on a Friday, May 3rd, 2019. Hope you're having a great day, ready for the weekend. A lot to do. We got a big baseball card tonight. We got NBA. We got 2 games. Got a couple NHL games as well. And we're going to break down the Kentucky Derby. I don't know shit about the Kentucky Derby, but I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of people want to tail, and I know that my friend Blackjack Fletcher knows a ton about it. He'll join us a little bit later. Blackjack, who just started a new show, and he's doing his thing. I remember many eons ago, Blackjack and I doing a show called Viva La Vegas. Back when we had great times on that show. It was a fun time. So kind of happy to join and talk with him. So Blackjack will join us a little bit later, and we'll get some of his Kentucky Derby picks. We can make a little money on the big race tomorrow down in Kentucky. Do me a favor, hit the like button, say hello in the chat, wherever you are, join in, ask questions, whatever you want to talk about. I'm here for you. I'm ready to go. Do some baseball we'll get to. Definitely some interesting spots tonight on the MLB card. We have some games that, are new series, definitely some money-making spots. We also have Bucks Celtics. We also have Nuggets Portland. Do want to get back to last night just quickly. And I think we're finally starting to see a little bit of a changing of the guard in this Raptors series. And I got to tell you, many know I'm a big Sixer fan. I've lived in the area my whole life. I remember when I was a kid, I would go and watch Allen Iverson, and I've always been a Sixer fan. And look, it's been a long odyssey as a fan. You had the years of the process and all the tanking and whatnot. And last night was really just a nice. It wasn't a finish or anything, but it was just kind of something that we can see now that this team is kind of moving forward, and they are really a good basketball team. And I think we're starting to see that. When you pull the curtain back on this Toronto group, they're just not that good. I mean, I think we can obviously respect Kawhi Leonard. I've made the case. I think he's a top 3 player in the NBA. He's a guy that you put on one of those lofty carpets, and they're not really in anyone else's stratosphere, really. But you also look outside of Pascal Siakam. What does this team really have? I mean, Kyle Lowry is a playoff loser. I mean, the guy never wins anything. He's just about as overrated as they come. Marc Gasol is what he is. I mean, he's slow. He can't guard Joel Embiid. And look, I mean, does it really matter if Jonas Valanciunas is there? I mean, Embiid would destroy him as well. You look at the bench. I mean, there's not a lot there. I mean, frankly, there's nothing there. They don't have a bench. I mean, OG Anunoby's not playing. Van Fleet's giving you nothing. You got rid of DeLon Wright and Pirtle. Norman Powell, what is he giving you? Ugats. Patrick McCall, what's he giving you? Ugats. I mean, Van Fleet, 1 point in 21 minutes last night. Danny Green was your third highest score at 13 points. I mean, it's just not good enough, but it's not something that I think is just going to change. I mean, the first 2 games, you didn't get anything from anyone else. I mean, how many times does Kyle Lowry have to fail in the playoffs before we start to realize this guy's not that good a player? I was very proud of the Sixers last night. I was proud of the way they played. I was proud of the coaching. And I'm one that has gotten on Brett Brown. That's not been a secret. I'm not a Brett Brown guy, but he pulled the strings last night, and they were terrific. You look at up and down this rotation, everybody contributed. Ennis continues to be terrific. Mike Scott came in and gave you some quality minutes. Just a really great win. We'll get into the games tonight. Obviously, looking forward to that. Got plenty of baseball, as I said. Before I do get into that, I want to tell you guys just one thing here before we move on. Have a new sponsor. Want to talk about them. Want to talk about the great folks at betonline.ag. BetOnline, really one of the best books in the business. BetOnline has been around a long time. We've featured other books, and you kind of move on to other things. And They had their time, and now we move on to Bet Online, and I'm really looking forward to the partnership with Bet Online. Bet Online has really been someone that I've communicated with for a long time. Guys like Dave Mason, terrific people. You really look at Bet Online, they're really one of the originators in the offshore market. You want your lines, they're going to put them out as early as possible. You want to make sure if you're betting and you're a guy that wants to look for value, obviously getting down on the right stuff is integral. You could do it at Bet Online. They give you the earliest originated lines. You can bet live. You can bet on all sorts of different things. They have everything for you. You can upload money with Bitcoin. You can put money on with Bitcoin. You can withdraw with Bitcoin. They have all sorts of ways for you to get your money back. And for being a Big Men on Campus listener, they're going to give you a 50% bonus. I do want to make it clear, there is a rollover with the 50% bonus, but it is one of the best rollovers out there. It's not particularly hefty. Make sure you read all the terms and conditions. If you do and are looking for a new account, BetOnline has you covered. Go to betonline.ag, open your account, use the promo code BIGMAN, BIGMAN, all one word. Get yourself 50% back on your deposit. So you put $200 up, they're going to give you back a total of $400 to begin wagering today. Get in the game now with betonline.ag. Use promo code BIGMAN, all one word. You get yourself a nice 50% bonus, a reputable name. You get your money in, get your money out, whatever you want to do. Big BetOnline has you covered. Go check out BetOnline. Make sure you're supporting the sponsors, guys. Many of you supported MyBookie. Many of you will support BetOnline. These are books that I've used, that I would tell you to use, and I've used in the past. So, again, we had something with MyBookie till kind of the end of college hoops. BetOnline is our new book of choice. Make sure you check it out. BetOnline, promo code BIGMAN, all one word, when signing up. Let's go through a few shout outs and then we'll get into the show. Underdog, Brian S. James, are you still betting English soccer? A little bit. Obviously, the season's beginning to end, so not as much, but yeah, a little. Jordan Cauldron, welcome in. Funny B. James, he's from Manchester. Welcome in. Good to see you, my friend. Great to have you here, lad. Jeff Wright, what's up, pal? Jimmy Butler got the job done. Good job. Yeah, you called that yesterday. Nice work. Let us know what props you're on today. White Sox. Yeah, they got it done last night. How about that? Card worked out pretty well for me last night. I was quite happy with even a small card. Angels got it done. Sixers got it done. I will not take credit for the Sixers. I was really kind of, I didn't really have a big opinion on that game. Kind of thought the Sixers would win, but again, I didn't have a lot of input on that game, so I won't really talk much about it. Bruins. They get the job done as well. Really a good night for me here on the show. We have a lot going on. Let's get into some of the games. Black Jack Fletcher will join us in just a little bit. Again, if you're out there, you're listening to the show, you want this show to continue. Look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't get paid to do this show. Okay, I come on here and I do this show. I've been able to do this show through your ability to support the sponsors. A lot of you were very integral in helping me before with sponsors. Make sure you're supporting these people. They go to bat. They kind of bring us aboard, and they are big supporters of us. So make sure you're using BetOnline. Go get yourself an account and add that to your arsenal. Promo code BIGMAN to get a 50% bonus. Let's get into the baseball. A lot of baseball to talk about tonight. A couple games for me. I'm going to start out with Pittsburgh and Oakland. This is a game that I've really been kind of tied into really since the line came out last night. I will say, obviously, the line movement is a bit concerning. You saw this game kind of open up around 105, 110 for the Pirates. It's up to 123. A lot of sharp money coming in on Oakland. But here's the thing, guys. I'm not betting Oakland on the road. I'm just not doing it. This team has lost 11 of 15 games on the highway this year. They're down over 8 units overall. They've just not been very good, Oakland, away from Oko. And I don't really have a lot of interest in betting them. I also don't have a lot of interest right now in Brett Anderson. He's not pitching particularly well. He's not giving you a ton right now. And over his last 2 starts, he has really struggled. He's not gotten out of 5 innings in those 2 starts. The only concern I have, and I will say this, I'm a big Joe Musgrove fan. I really like this kid. Comes over from Houston. He's put up 5 quality starts this year, including one against the Dodgers last week. He's been a terrific strikeout pitcher, 31 strikeouts over 35 innings. His whip is under 1, and opponents are only hitting 192 against him. He's just been fantastic. The only issue I have with the Pirates here is, they aren't very good offensively. They only have 2 guys in the starting lineup tonight that have double-digit RBI numbers. They're just having trouble scoring runs. I'm hoping they can get to Brett Anderson a little bit here. Obviously, that's the advantage in this game. When you get to the bullpens, obviously you love what Pittsburgh can give you. Their closer's fantastic. They have a great pitching staff, top 6 right now in baseball. So, I'm willing at this number to have interest. Is it the best play on the board? No. Is it a game that I'd go crazy on? No. But I think the road issues for Oakland, obviously Musgrove, I think that's enough to warrant a wager here. Joe Morowski, I love BetOnline. I've never had an issue. Well, good. Joe Morowski obviously is already part of BetOnline, so he knows. How does Eichhoff look? Can the Phillies cover the run line? We'll get to that one maybe here in a little bit. We'll kind of keep it moving. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to jump on the chat box. We always love to include everybody interacting with us here. We get Tampa and Baltimore. We know Tampa. Tampa's been a team that I've been on, and I'm going to recommend them again tonight. Here's the issue with Tampa, though. Their numbers are getting a bit high. And that's where, for me, it becomes hard to justify telling other people to bet on them. Look, when you're betting on run lines in particular, look, if you're laying 130s on run lines, it starts to cut in a little bit. When you're betting on run line, you obviously have a little bit more volatility to winning. And look, to lay 130, 135 on a run line is tough to do just because, they have to win obviously by 2 or more runs. And, you're not getting any money back. You almost like want something back on kind of the risk you're taking and the juice you're laying. That's why, for me, I want to go over this game because I really want to detail how good Tyler Glasnow's been. Glasnow's been really hard to really be better than. 38 strikeouts over 6 games. He's got an ERA under 2. His whip has been terrific. And what you really like about Glasnow, guys, is he's getting in front of his hitters. He's thrown a first pitch strike on over 64% of his pitches. He's getting ahead of hitters. He's making hitters kind of take bad swings. He's getting them into bad counts, and he's had a real success. You also look at the fact that not only has Glasnow been good, but so has this Rays team. Their offense has been very good. 19 of their 20 wins have come by 2 or more runs, and they've also been kind of you look at Oakland being a bad road team. They've been one of the better road teams, 10-4 this year, Tampa Bay, on the road. We look at Baltimore. We know what Baltimore is. They're a bad baseball team. It's not going to win a lot of games this year. It's just that simple. They are a group that, from a pitching perspective, have really struggled. Opponents in Camden Yards hitting .312 this year. Dan Straley has an ERA just below 7. And they have the worst pitching staff in baseball from an ERA perspective. It's just not been very kind this year to Baltimore. You have a good offensive team coming in here. Again, I hate to be square, and I want to make this clear. I'm going over this game because I kind of wanted to highlight just how good Glasnow's been. I will say it's hard for me to lay 120 plus on a run line. If I'm laying a run line, I want even money or plus money. I don't want to be put in a corner where I can't bet where I have to lay money on a run line. We'll get our guest here up in just a little bit. And we'll talk with Blackjack Fletcher. Really excited to talk to him. Many people know Blackjack's been a friend of mine for a long time. We used to do a show together called Viva La Vegas. Now he's a big timer at the Action Network. He's doing a new show that we'll hear more about. So, stand by for that. Do me a favor, retweet the show on Twitter if you can. It's always a great way to grow it. It's always a great way to get the name out there. Joe M., thanks for doing that on Twitter. Anyone else that does that, Here's what I'll do. Anyone that retweets the show today is going to get I'll send them a play this weekend that I send out to my email list. So do that. Retweet the show, and you could be a part of that. Let's keep it moving. We'll do one or two more baseball games here, and then kind of get into a little bit of Kentucky Derby, and we'll talk NBA as well. Also coming over the wire right now, Ben Simmons has been fined for his aggressive foul the other night on Kyle Lowry. So we can expect Siakam to get punished as well, right? It's not going to just be a one-time thing because Siakam's trip was a bit ridiculous. Listen, why didn't Kyle Lowry get fined? I mean, that foul was pretty ridiculous, no? Let's hope more to comes out of this because I don't think that was good enough. Did I already speak on Denver, Portland? No, I haven't talked on any NBA just yet. What do we have here? Louis Lanza, Tampa Bay first inning over. Okay, so you're expecting a run in the first. An interesting one. You're obviously going to have to expect Tampa Bay to do that. Glass now over 6.5 strikeouts. Look, he's been terrific. How can he not do anything? How can he not do anything involving Tyler Glass now? He's been awesome. Let's get to one more game here. We'll kind of come back to this. We have plenty of time here. Texas and Toronto. Look at this number. This is an interesting number, isn't it? By the way, guys, do me a favor. DM me if you end up retweeting the show. Just send me a message telling me you retweeted the show, and I'll get in touch with you. Let's go to Texas and Toronto. Thornton against Mike Minor. I was on Mike Minor last week, actually last Saturday. I bet him against the Mariners. He got the job done. Mike Minor's really been a renaissance this year. He continues to dazzle hitters. Opponents hitting just 179 off of Mike Minor, and you're getting a Texas team that's got to be licking their chops that they get to face Trent Thornton has struggled this year. He hasn't gotten out of the fifth inning yet this year. He's never been down in that humidity down in Texas, and he's facing a red-hot offense. This offense is very good for Texas. 6 runs a game, the best in the major leagues. Minor's really just been an aberration. I can't believe how good he's been. Really looks like Wade LeBlanc last year. Wade LeBlanc had a really good renaissance at one point. Mike Minor has been fantastic. You have to expect he's going to be traded at some point to a contender. Minor's been very good. Look, I don't care that Vlad Guerrero Jr. is eligible all of a sudden and he's playing. He hasn't done much. I'm not really worried about him right now. Until Vlad Guerrero starts hitting the ball, I'm not overly worried about it. This is still a lineup only hitting 218 over the last 7 games. Toronto's just not someone that I'm interested in backing. You look at this game, and I kind of want to isolate Thornton. To be honest, I don't love Texas's bullpen, and I also don't. I don't love facing Toronto's bullpen. I think their bullpen's actually decent. So I'm kind of wanting to just kind of highlight Thornton, and that's really my goal here. Plus, I really don't want to lay 145. So for me, I'm going to go to Bet Online, and I'm going to bet Texas -0.5 in the first 5 at even money. That I think that's something that I'm really looking to do here. I don't want to have this kind of go into the 7th, 8th inning where it's kind of one of those wild 6-5 games, and I don't really want to lay run lines with Texas, even though they do score a ton of runs. I don't love their pen. I'm just kind of confident with facing Thornton. I'm getting my guy in Minor. This is probably going to be my one really good baseball play. This is one baseball play I really like tonight. My play tonight's actually in the NBA, but I like Texas here. I think in the first 5 -0.5, they're really worth the look. I really like Minor. Love what he's been doing. He's been mystifying hitters. I'm going to rock with Michael Minor in Texas in the first 5. A couple of comments here. What's up, Andy? Bo Dunn. Thanks for watching. Rangers team total over looks good. Yeah, that's a good one too. But I kind of want to cash in on Minor. I like what I've seen out of him. I like fading this this Toronto pitching staff when I can, and this lineup. So I'm confident with kind of my position here in the first five. But yeah, again, I think that's a good one in the in the team total markets. Let me get this link over to our friend Black Jack Fletcher. Haven't talked to Black Jack in a while. Hope he's doing well. Let me get my headset on. Eric Nisbet, Canelo by decision. I disagree. I like the other side, but good luck, Eric. You we'll be on opposite sides here. We're kind of facing each other in this one. So good luck with that. I hate to be opposite of you, but this is what we're gonna have to do here. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to get in touch. You have any points you want to bring up? Feel free. Kentucky Derby on our minds tomorrow. Again, I don't bet Kentucky Derby. I don't know shit about horse racing, but when you don't know stuff about something, you consult with professionals. Maybe we'll even talk a little hockey with Blackjack. Blackjack, a big hockey guy. I know he was a big not Islanders, Golden Knight fan last year. He was all teed in on that group. So we have two games tonight in hockey. You got the Islanders and Carolina. Look, I mean, how do the Islanders not win at least one game? You got to wonder, though, is their spirit hurt a little bit? I mean, how do they come back from this one? I mean, hockey, I guess if you're going to pick one of these sports where it happens, it would be hockey, where you come back from 3-0. I know the Flyers at one point did it, several years ago. I think it was like a long time ago, but either way, I'd be interested to hear a hockey fan's opinion on that. I had the Bruins last night. I was happy with that decision. I will say I kind of like the Blues tonight at home. That's been a great arena. They've really played great hockey there. But I don't know. I haven't had much on these Western Conference games. It's not a great board tonight in hockey. I might kind of do away with those. Thanks for watching, Mike. Glenn, thanks for watching. Glenn's in Sydney, Australia. How about that? How about that? Little show in Pennsylvania. There's a guy from Australia. We got Manchester, England. How about that? It's pretty cool. What time is it in Australia right now? It's got to be like the next day, no? Stars Blues over. Okay. Interesting. Yep, I saw that Omaha Beach is a scratch, so we'll have to see how that affects the field. I do know also that I believe it's rainy. It's always rainy, and every time I watch Kentucky Derby, it seems like it rains. What's up with that? 7:23 a.m. How about that? So it's already the next day. Dexter Rojas is in Guantanamo. Really? Oh. Having a little trouble with our guest here. You're in Puerto Rico, no? I thought you were in. All right, we will get back to NBA. Is he a prisoner? Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Maybe you should elaborate a little bit more. He's not a prisoner because I don't believe there are any more prisoners in Guantanamo. I may be wrong about that, but I don't believe there's any more people in Guantanamo. So maybe you can elaborate on that. Fucking Google Hangouts. We're having trouble with Google Hangouts tonight. I don't know what's going on here. I'm trying to get our guest on. Usually we have no issues getting Blackjack Fletcher on, but he might be having a problem. No, I don't think we have a problem anymore. All right, let's bring him in. Let's bring our big guest in. He's a old friend of the show. I remember him when he was just a random individual trying to make his way in the world. Now he's a big time, radio host and a explorer and all this different stuff. My old friend Blackjack Fletcher, how you doing?
What's happening, Jeff? How we doing, man?
Good. Great to see you, man. You're looking very healthy. You're looking well. I'm happy to see you. I really want to get into really quickly what you're up to. I know you're doing some great things at the Action Network. You're one of the rising stars there. You're one of my favorite people there, as you know. And I know you just started a new show. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure did, man. I am hosting with Paul LaDuca a Sirius radio show every morning, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern, on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network on Sirius XM Channel 87. Paul and I are bringing gambling and daily fantasy advice to people. We love to hear from people. We take callers, but we're having a lot of fun, man. It's loose, it's fun, and working with Paul LaDuca is never a boring thing. So.
Now, let me ask you, Blackjack. I mean, you and I did many shows together. We traveled together. We spent many times together. You have to agree. I mean, I'm probably your favorite host ever.
I don't know if I can say that now. Paulie might get offended. He's very sensitive.
Well, second.
You guys are right there, 1-1.
Okay, that's good enough. But yeah, I've often said it. Your rise into the business is quite interesting. I haven't seen many people do it, and I have to tell you, I've hung out with you, been around you. You're a wild guy, but you're a great guy nonetheless, and I'm very happy for your success. I've talked about this. I don't like a lot of people in this business, but I think you're a guy that you and I are. I think we're not physically the same. Like, we don't dress the same. We don't really act the same, but I think we get each other the same. And I do really respect kind of what you have done and you as a person. So happy to have you. I'm happy to promote what you're doing, and I'm glad to see it. What do we got here? Let's get into the Kentucky Derby. First of all, Blackjack, I want to ask you, it seems like every year it rains at the Kentucky Derby. What's the weather report?
Rain. It's 90% chance of rain. It feels like I think it's rained now for 6 of the last 8 derbies. It's springtime in Louisville. You're going to get rain. It just feels like we've had a ton of it lately. And tomorrow it's going to rain pretty much all day. So you're going to have a wet track.
Interesting. Yeah, I know. I remember last year it was pouring. It was very wet. Let me ask you. I know your counterpart, Paul LaDuca, did a little blog about power ranking the horses. Now, the favorite, Omaha Beach, was scratched. Very good name, by the way. I love that name. Yep. Really nice, like, kind of historical, relation to kind of World War II and what the troops did there. He ranked Game Winner as the favorite. Is he your favorite?
Yeah, he is. Game Winner was the 2-year-old champion last year. He won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile over Churchill Downs. So he's run on this track before. He's won on this track before. He's had 2 losses this year, but honestly, his losses were almost more impressive than the races he won, because he had awful trips in those races and still was just beaten by a nose in each of them. So he's shown he can overcome a bad trip and still be there at the wire.
Paul LaDuca says that he is the most battle-tested horse in the Kentucky Derby. We really haven't heard. I find it interesting, Blackjack, about the Kentucky Derby. Usually, every year you have a kind of like a build-up to this, and I feel like there hasn't been a lot of build-up to it.
Well, the reason you feel that way, Jeff, is because we don't have a clear favorite here. Game Winner is going to be the favorite. It was going to be Omaha Beach, but these horses have all traded wins with each other. So, I mean, coming into last year's Derby, it was Justify. Everyone knew that Justify was most likely the most talented horse in that field, and if everything broke okay for him, he was going to win that race. This field doesn't have that. We don't have a super horse in this field. We don't have probably a transcendent horse in this field. We've got a lot of really talented horses, but they've just traded wins with each other. There's nobody who's gotten on that run before the Derby and really just taken off.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. We haven't seen a ton of build up just because there's not that American Pharaoh or Barbaro or
you don't have
those. Yeah, those kind of horses. Currently, Bet Online. Let's kind of go through the odds. They have game winner, so you're getting some really good odds, 6-1.
Unbelievable.
Not bad there. You got Improbable at 6-1, Roadster 7-1, Code of Honor. What I got to bet Code of Honor.
Code of Honor, actually, funny.
Great name.
Funny you mentioned Code of Honor. We had on the radio show today Eddie Olczyk, former NHL player and NBC sports analyst for the NHL and horse racing, and he's down in Kentucky, and he says Code of Honor has been working just bullets at Churchill Downs.
I like that. Listen, I'm a man of honor, as they say, and I love Code of Honor. I live by the Code of Honor. I love that. So let me ask you, Blackjack. When you're capping horse racing, I find this fascinating because I don't bet horse racing. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I'll watch it if it's on, but it's not something that I'm overly invested in. What do you look for? What are you looking for?
The first thing you look for is how is the race going to shape up? So how much speed do you think is going to be on the front end? Because if you have a race with a lot of speed horses early on, that means you're probably going to get a fast pace, and that's good for closers because those horses are going to tire each other out. Okay, so if you have a horse with late speed, you want a fast early pace, tire out, and then those horses can come on. In this race, you don't have that. Omaha Beach was going to be the second speed horse. But right now with him out, it's just Maximum Security. So what's probably going to happen is Maximum Security is going to go to the front early on and just kind of coast through the backstretch without any real push. So that'll help him. But who it also helps are the horses who like to sit right off the pace because it'll be a nice, slow, relaxed pace. They don't have to expend their energy early, and it'll give them a chance when they make that turn for home to make their move.
Interesting, really fascinating. So you look at this one horse in the 10 horse, Cutting Humor. Now, one of the chatters here mentioned that he was at one point 45-1. I see it Bet Online 29-1 now. Mike Smith will be riding him. Is that the reason for that move down, you think?
Sure is. Mike Smith, Money Mike, best jockey out there. He's the best jockey in the world right now. He's who you go to if you have a big horse in a big race. He was going to be on Omaha Beach with the scratch. Now he's relegated to Cutting Humor, which, I mean, listen, when you look at it on paper, he's trained by Todd Pletcher, a Hall of Fame trainer. He's got a Hall of Fame jockey. You think, maybe it's worth a shot. Problem is that horse just has faced awful competition. His biggest win is the Sunland Derby. He's not in the league of the top half of this field. If he finished better than 10th, I'd be shocked.
So we would equate him to like Southeast Missouri State if they were to make the NCAA tournament. I got you. The competition's just not been there. We would equate him to maybe though he could be like Carson Wentz though. Blackjack.
He's more like Greg Monroe. When Greg Monroe came in and had a nice game the other night, you were shocked by it.
Yeah, good point. All right, one more question here. We have one other horse, Haikal, I believe is his name. Yeah, he's been scratched with a foot infection. That doesn't sound good for a horse that's racing. Blackjack, let me ask you, do you like any big long shots? You have some big ones here. Obviously, Country House, 33-1.
That horse is training exceptionally well right now. Country House is an interesting horse because 2 months ago he was favored over Omaha Beach. And then Omaha Beach comes out, goes on this little roll with the Rebel Stakes and the Arkansas Derby. But people say Country House is really looking great down at Churchill Downs. I would not cut that horse out of your exotics. The way to play this race, because you hit on it before, even the favorites aren't going to be ridiculously short priced. I would play game winner with a horse like Tacitus, who's going to go off probably around 8-1, and then maybe throw in a horse like a Country House or a By My Standards or a Tax, and play a few different trifectas, because if you hit one of those with a horse at 25-30 to 1 in there and the favorite's only 7-2, you're going to get a nice payout on that.
You mentioned Cutting Humor, I believe it was, facing a lot of kind of nobodies. Bellafina, I've read, is also not really faced a great field. I mean, to be honest with Blackjack, isn't that kind of the definition of this race? I mean, there's not a great horse in this race.
That's why you've got to look at the Baffert horses, because they've at least faced each other, and they faced two of them, Game Winner and Improbable, have faced Omaha Beach and Country House, so they've faced some better competition. That's why, I mean, if it's not one of those 3 Baffert horses, I would consider it a surprise. I mean, those horses have all faced each other. They've traded wins with each other. None of them has a really bad post draw. They've all got top jockeys on them, and they've got the greatest trainer in the world. So if it's not one of those 3, I would consider it a surprise.
I think that kind of the, basically in summarizing all of it, it's grab a few of those guys and maybe grab one of these big boys, Country House, or I don't know. I mean, how can you let me be honest here. How can you bet a horse called Tax? I can't do that.
You know what? Tax is a horse, Jeff, that I've got in some of my exotics. I do. He's the issue with Tax is the same issue with Tacitus. They have faced each other a couple of times, but the competition on the East Coast this year at Aqueduct and Belmont has not been great. It was much better out west and even in the Midwest than it was here. So I don't know how that will translate to this race, but Tax is a horse with some late speed that if you're playing a trifecta or really a superfecta, could hit the board for 4th late.
Interesting. Where will you be watching this race?
I'm going to be at Belmont Park. We've got some seats in the garden terrace there, so I'll be at Belmont watching the racing there. Very good, very good.
Blackjack, before we let you go, 2 games in hockey tonight, and I'd be interested to see if you had any opinion. I mean, you have the New York Islanders, who I know there's certain people at Barstool that are ready to kill themselves over the Islanders, and we remember those 2 guys today. Definitely sad. I'm going to admit I'm ready to kill myself as well, because I have the Islanders to win the entire thing as well. So I'm actually not very happy. But I ask you, if you're going to come back from 3-0, I mean, it's hockey you're going to do it in, no?
It's absolutely hockey. I mean, it's really the only sport where it's somewhat feasible. We see 3-1 comebacks semi-regularly in hockey. It's not out of the realm. So, yeah, I mean, the Islanders are, they're laying in the grave. The dirt's not on them yet. But I actually like the Islanders tonight. I think they can get a win tonight and take it from there. I think at the plus money value for them tonight, I think like plus 120 or something. I think they're worth a look tonight.
I mean, my only thing is, are they just done? Are they just out of it?
Well, that's what you have to worry about, right? I mean, the only thing I like about them is they are a very young, kind of scrappy team, and I think that maybe they go out there and say, hey, let's not get swept tonight. Like, let's get one on the board.
Let's at least do something here. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, that was kind of my thought the other night. I took them, and they decided that they were going to slip up again. St. Louis 2-2. This is St. Louis Dallas. This has probably got 7 games written all over. You have to figure.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Interesting one tonight. St. Louis laying a big number here. Any thoughts here?
I like St. Louis. I don't like laying that number. That series is so close. I mean, the margin between those teams is razor thin. I think the Blues are slightly better, and I think they'll get it done. But anything above 130, you really can't lay in that series.
Yeah, that would kind of be my thoughts as well. A few questions here from people, Blackjack, for you. What's your take on maximum security?
He doesn't have it. I know people like Florida Derby winners because traditionally they've done well in Kentucky. But maximum security to me is just not in the same class as the Baffert horses. I just don't love a front runner in the Derby. I think with 20 horses, 19 this year, You've just got too much that can go wrong to wire a field like that.
Yeah, not a big price either. Only 8-1. Definitely, maybe someone to stay away from. Any interest, Blackjack, in Vacoma to hit in the top 4?
I do think if you're playing a superfecta, Vacoma's worth a ticket. I saw him win the Bluegrass Stakes down at Keeneland last month. Impressive horse. He's probably the horse in this field with the biggest diversity of opinions on him. Some people really like Vacoma. Paul LaDuca likes him a lot. Dan Torgman over at ABR thinks the horse is totally outclassed. It's interesting. I think he's worth a look on a superfecta ticket.
Blackjack, before we let you go, I have a thought about something tonight, and I want to hear what you think. One of your counterparts interviewed that Jeopardy guy, right?
Yep.
I think he's going to lose tonight.
I have no idea what's going to happen with the Jeopardy guy. I'll be totally honest with you. I don't give a damn. I don't really watch Jeopardy.
You're not watching this guy? You don't care? Okay.
No, not watching.
Must watch TV.
You know what, man? If I'm watching TV at 7:30 at night, I'm watching a game. I'm not watching Jeopardy.
I will admit I haven't missed many Jeopardies for a long time. Maybe that's just – I don't know. I do feel that I could win at least 5 questions off Jeopardy against this guy. I do think I can. I do think I'm smart enough to do that. But I'm going to tell you all right now, he's going to lose tonight. I got a feeling.
All right. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll tune in.
We got the teachers tournament next week, so this would be a perfect time for him to ride off into the sunset and go away. All right, Blackjack, great work as always. Where can people find you, and what else do you have going on?
Find me on Twitter at Blackjack Fletch. You can find my stuff at the Action Network, and you can listen to the Action Network on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio Monday to Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern.
How about that? Good work, Blackjack. Enjoy the Kentucky Derby. Thanks for the good work, man. You definitely know the horses. Great stuff, man.
Anytime, brother.
Cheers. Good work from Blackjack Fletcher. Always good to hear from him, my old friend there. Great horse guy. Definitely knows his horse racing, probably more than anybody that I know. So thanks to Blackjack for joining us today. Also says he likes the Islanders, and I got to agree with him. Look, I know the Islanders hurt me the other night, but you got to figure there's some sort of gonads on this team, at least to give you something. All you could do is worry about one game at a time, as they say. So we'll see how that goes. The NBA stuff, I have a premium selection on one of these games, and I'm going to kind of keep that under wraps. I will say, both these games, I think are going to be good games tonight. Look, I feel like anytime you can get the Bucks as an underdog, I think you got to jump on it. They're 4-1 this year as an underdog. They've only been an underdog 5 times. They've won 4 of them outright. I look, anytime I can coin flip on the Bucks, I'll do it. They're the sharp side here. I'm not really sure I'm understanding why people love the Celtics here. I think this series is more or less what we saw in the last game. I think that is what this series is. I believe that. The other game, obviously we have Portland, who's been very good at home. No one will disagree with that. Denver struggled on the road. But I think one thing we can kind of realize about Denver is, Jokic can't be stopped. I don't think there's a player on Portland that can defend him. They didn't play and shoot particularly well in the last game. That's not something that's going to continue, you would think. But yeah, I think in the MLB tonight, I definitely like Texas first 5 -1/2. Another game I had my eye on was Reds Giants under. The Reds are 23-7 to the under this year. They've been a great under team. 2 of the worst offenses here tonight in baseball. I got to tell you, I kind of like the Giants as well, plus money. You can actually get a pretty good price on the Giants. Sonny Gray's not went deep into games. I'm not in love with him. I don't think he should be laying this kind of number. Prices actually went down a little bit. Beatty for the San Francisco Giants. You'd have to expect if you're Beatty, you're making your debut. This is definitely the guy that you want to face. Bear with me, guys. I have one important call to get to here. Let me just take this. I hate to do it. Hello? Uh, Anytime your parents call you a few times in a row, you usually answer. So that was that. That's the joys of this show. Look, if we were on, a big time radio station, probably we couldn't do that, but it's all good. All right, guys. That's it. I'm going to wrap it up. It is Friday, and we pretty much went through a lot of stuff today. I'm going to go with Texas in the first 5 minus a half. I'm also going to take the Islanders tonight, plus money. We'll see if those two can get the job done. I may be on tomorrow. I don't know. You don't usually get on the weekends, but we've had some pretty good participation here from you guys. What's the MLB locks? You definitely want to listen back. Also, make sure you support our sponsor, BetOnline.ag. So used to saying certain things. Certainly check BetOnline out. If you're new, you're looking for a book, or really you're just looking to add a book, BetOnline has you covered. Go to betonline.ag, get yourself an account. You can use Bitcoin. You can get withdrawals within 48 hours. You can also have a promo code and get yourself a 50% bonus. Enter promo code BIGMAN, all one word, BIGMAN, to claim your bonus. Again, there are rollover requirements. Make sure you're reading those. If you don't want a bonus, you don't want a rollover, you don't have to accept a rollover. But still make sure you use promo code BIGMAN. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for watching me. I do appreciate it. As always, make sure you support me on Twitter at Jeff, JEFF, NADU. How about a side bet on Holtzhauer winning? Well, I mean, you're going to have to give me big odds. Also, I heard about something about supposedly I was talked about today, not by name, but by description on Barstool Radio, not on Barstool Radio, on one of the shows. Certain people just keep talking about me, which I find interesting. Again, it's funny. It's coming from a guy that no one's ever seen before. He's basically a fucking John Doe. But hey, if no one's talking about you, you're not doing something right. I was actually called a hefty fellow with a perm. I don't necessarily have a perm. I have a blowout, but close enough. Shout out to that guy, who I actually liked for a long time, but he just kind of became a prick to anyone that's involved with gambling. So I don't know. I guess he's crying out for help. So that's my new description, a hefty guy with a perm. That's what I was referred to as. I guess it's not true. I don't have a perm, though. A perm is more of like a curly kind of thing. It's more of a woman haircut, but hey, whatever you say. All right, guys, that's it for me. You all have a great evening. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your Friday, and be safe. I'm the Big Man on Campus. See you next time.